we always hear from you how important it is to not put too much on a loss or too much on a win, and I know that message trickles down to the team. Just kind of what is the mentality as you come out and Saturday was Saturday and you're out here attacking a new week?
Yeah, I think it's easier said than done when you say you can't let the last team beat you the next week. I mean, what's done is done. Some of the closer losses are some of the harder losses because you're right there at the end. Everybody's locked in. Then all of a sudden, in the last 3 or 4 minutes of a game, it kind of takes the air out of you. Especially on the road with travel plans that were juggled all week. Our kids did a great job prepping for the game. They were prepared for the game. They played well enough to win the game. We just didn't win the game. And like I said the week before, and I'll always feel that way when we prepared and played well enough to win. Those are some of the harder falls that you take because you weren't outscored by 4 touchdowns. Doesn't mean the loss is any more than a loss, but when it's an upside down score, sometimes it doesn't hurt you as much as it is for 60 minutes, and then the last 3 minutes of the 60, just kind of takes the wind out of your sails. And so I think it's harder to say, let's not let it affect us. Let's let it motivate us. Let's let it allow us to determine or be more determined because of it. But last week's not going to help us with this week unless we allow it to help us for this week. Certainly don't want to let it hurt us going into this week.
This program historically plays very well in these FBS versus FCS matchups, and especially in your time as head coach. Is there a certain edge to it? Is there wanting to show something to prove, or what goes into that?
I think regardless of the opponent you're playing, I think there's always something to prove. And a lot of that's to ourselves, not to anybody else. How we match up with any team we face is in a 60-minute frame on 6 days of prep is special to this game of football. You get one opportunity, home or away. I think it's always exciting. I don't know that I've been a part of a 4th game of the year at an FBS institution, so it might be new to me. I don't know what the last 24 years have held, but it's unique in the fact that usually it's a first or second game in the year. So it is a little bit different. It is their 5th game and our 4th game, so it's a little bit different that way. So they've played 4 up to this point, and all but one of them really kind of they were in it. They were not only in it, but ahead of it, and last week wasn't their way. So I don't think he played any harder. I don't think he played the game any harder, whether it's played on Thursday or Saturday, whether it's FBS, FCS, in conference, out of conference. If you're playing the game differently because of the opponent, then I don't know that you're doing it the right way, the correct way. So I think there's a little bit more maybe juice and energy going into the game, but that's not going to define how you play in the game. How you play in the game's the testament to how you prepare. And we need to prepare to create in opportunistic situations, and take advantage of those situations that come usually 4 to 6 times in a game. There's usually a close game is going to be about a 4 to 6 play difference. Don't know where those 4 are going to land or what side of the ball they're going to land on, but we've got to seize the opportunity in those 4 to 6 plays in these one-score games to be able to get us back to 500.
Seeing your team for the last few weeks in game action and then also going back into the fall and the summer and all that stuff, do you feel like you have a pretty good handle on them, or is there anything about them that's still surprising you, something you didn't expect to see, this past week or this past 2 weeks or anything?
I'm thoroughly surprised by Kekoa's growth through 3 games, his maturity. There's one instance which, to the public's eye, you'd have no idea, but watching film, could have easily tried to fit the ball in a tight window last week. Decided to tuck in and run, and got negative yardage on the run. Good for him. That's growing up. That if you followed his journey, which I have and been part of it, luckily, that you've seen him do other things in other events up to that point. So surprising, no. It's assuring that all of a sudden Coach Chapin has kind of put him in. It's always the next down. But to get to the next down, you have to possess the ball for the next down in the same series. And so a ton of growth in that one play that really no one's going to ask about. But we certainly commend those guys growing up. Continue to lean on our leaders. Our leaders done a great job. We've been without 2 captains last week, and Jacob and Nolan. And from a leadership standpoint, that hurts you when 2 of your 8 captains that have been around for 4, 5 and 6 years, I guess. When they're not there, when they're not present, you just know something's missing. That's our opportunity to pick up the slack on the field, but we certainly miss those guys' leadership from a personality and a vocalness standpoint. So, nothing surprising yet. We're still trying to find out who we are and what we intend to be and what we intend to do. But I know we got some fighters, we got some tough kids, and we'll get this thing going soon.
What is Keiko like in a film session, leading up to a game like this?
A lot more quiet than myself. He's pretty stoic, pretty humble, pretty serious, pretty professional about his craft. He wants to be the best there is at Eastern, and he knows to do that. You gotta have some fun. I mean, there's fun times outside the meeting room. We crack a couple laughs. I'll sit in different position meeting rooms and just kind of watch coaches coach and watch players absorb coaching. And he's serious about his craft. And I respect him for that. Anybody that works and leans in to his craft as much as he has, he's not the only one on this team. You don't get surprised by the outcomes that happen. Those aren't just wake up, get out of bed, and those fortunate things happen. Those are all through hard work and great coaching and commitment and a ton of reps. I mean, you saw Efton and him connect twice last week. Just a trust factor. One was a ball from the hash of the boundary, and could have been any better timing-wise from both guys. And one he put up to Efton in a catchable situation. Efton came down with a one-handed catch. So there's a lot of trust, and that's built through repetitions. But he's a very, very quiet leader, a very humble leader, and a very mature person. And you wouldn't have it any other way. I think it's a quarterback that's leading your team.
Thank you, Coach.
Good.
Thank you.